helping you to weather good and bad economies without putting retirement on hold. This is the Tumolo Financial Podcast with Ken and Nick Tumolo. Ken and his son Nick know that creating a comprehensive financial plan can align your hard-earned life savings with your retirement goals. Consider them your retirement architects. Now, the Tumolo Financial Podcast with Ken and Nick Tumolo.
Ken, something that I know you guys work to prioritize at Tumolo Financial is the conversation around legacy planning. I think you actually said the idea about moving money efficiently, because it's the efficiency that really gets lost for a lot of folks in this legacy process. Is that not right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because of the mistakes that so many of us are making. And I think it just has to do with a lot with avoidance. People just don't want to consider the fact that they're going to die one day. And that's what makes the conversation a little bit difficult. But if you want to talk about difficult things that can come around, it's when you don't have that legacy plan in place. And the legal battles that can ensue, hefty tax bills that can come, family arguments are very real. Even for the rich and famous, there are stories about singer Aaron Carter. He did not have a will. NBA legend Kobe Bryant died without an updated estate plan. Sopranos star James Gandolfini's estate was heavily taxed. So how do you then, Ken, help people prevent legacy planning mistakes?
And you would think as a financial advisor, it's all about just investments.
Yeah. Well,
it's not.
That growth financial advisor, right? For when we're in our 30s and 40s. But in this second phase of our financial life, there's a lot more involved.
Yeah. No, it's completely different. Most of the people that we work with, the majority of clients we work with 55 and older. Mm-hmm. And heading into your 60s, one of the things they really, everyone talks about, even the attorneys, they're pretty much like, hey, you really should have a will in place. And then as you get older, sometimes depending on situations, you need a trust. And I'm not a lawyer. That's my disclosure. But the big thing is I'll start with this. One, so we'll start on this side of it. We're interviewing someone that comes in. So a listener comes in, we're talking to them, and then we'll ask them about the estate planning piece of it. Do you have a will in place? Do you have a trust in place? Just to get an idea, what have they done so far? Okay. And then on top of it, sometimes I'll get the comment, well, later on when this all passes to my beneficiaries, it's their problem. They could pay the taxes. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that.
Oh, really?
Let me spin this around. Yeah. And then I say to them, well, then, would you rather leave the IRS more money or would you rather leave your beneficiaries more money? And of course, they always say, no, I'd rather leave the kids more money. Mm-hmm. And so tax planning is important at that point.
Absolutely.
It's because most people don't realize what happens by the time the kids get to the point where someone passes away. They're older, tax rates can go up, your accounts are worth more. And so more of that money, hard-earned money. Mm-hmm. Think of it this way. You worked 20, 30, 40 years. You worked hard to get that money into those accounts. And we don't want to discount that and forget that. You don't want to hand it away. I mean, the thing is, keep it in the family, have it go to who you want it to go to. So that's number one. Okay. Making sure that these things pass efficiently. Mm-hmm. Number two, I can't tell you how many times I've met with people that have had issues, meaning a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, that when a parent passed away, there's all kinds of problems. Yeah. And meaning fights. So a lot of times what happens is if attorneys, that estate planning attorneys hear of this, that there are issues within a family, then they recommend that things are done by trust, not only will. Because a trust you can't argue, whereas a will you can argue. So there's certain reasons why these attorneys do what they do with estate planning. But I always feel like when someone first visits us, it's our job to not only make sure their numbers work, but to start to give direction there. How do you make this pass along efficiently? Mm-hmm. And then number two, how do you prevent some of those family issues from happening? I'll tell you a real quick story. Yeah. I met with a guy, and this was years ago. His wife had passed away, second marriage, okay? Mm-hmm. And when his wife passed away, the beneficiaries were never completely fixed. Meaning, some of the accounts went to him. Some of the accounts went to the ex, who she didn't want the money going to at all. And some of the money went to a brother who the current husband was not getting along with. And even though in her will, she said, I want everything going to my husband. Yeah. These when you put a beneficiary on a 401k and IRA, it overrides the will.
You're kidding.
So basically, yes. So basically what happened was the husband ended up with less, and then people that he knew his wife didn't want money going to, it went to. So big thing.
And there was no arguing that. It was what it was. There's no change.
It's what it is. Yeah.
Wow.
So when we dig in, it's the tax, the investments, but also, hey, go double check your 401k. And actually, this is what I'll say to listeners, because I've seen this happen when a company switches a 401k. Sometimes they lose the beneficiary piece of it. So if anything, if you don't call us for a Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup, when you get into work or when you go log into your 401k, double check your beneficiaries. You want to prevent things from happening. But other than that, like you said, that Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup that we do complimentary, part of it is digging into the legacy piece of it and making sure everything's in order. Our number, 860-854-3434.
The small details, like checking your beneficiaries to make sure they are up to date. This is what Ken is talking about when he speaks to the difference of the work that they do at Tumolo Financial versus what so many other financial advisors do. The kind of work that they are ready to do with and for you as well. Again, that number to dial, 860-854-3434 to reserve a time for your Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup, 860-854-3434. Ken, you were speaking about in the legacy planning process how important the tax planning is in that space. But legacy planning is only one of the areas where the tax man can really get us in retirement. Millions of baby boomers are rolling over money from employer 401k plans to traditional IRAs as they retire. But there was an article on Morningstar.com warning that you must make sure your rollover does not create unintended tax consequences. Ken, what do they mean by this? And more importantly, how do you help people prevent making these kinds of mistakes?
And this is where I'm going to say not every advisor accounts for taxes.
Okay.
And I can tell you that with certainty.
Sure.
So there's a couple companies in Connecticut. Actually, there's 3 companies in Connecticut that when you roll your money over, there's actually a tax advantage. And if an advisor, and I've already seen this happen, doesn't roll it properly, you lose the tax advantage. You can't go and undo it and get that advantage. Just want to stress that.
Yeah.
So I met with this woman. This was a while ago. I just remember the story. She came in and they met with an advisor, and the advisor was actually from another state. So maybe that advisor didn't know about this, but he should have.
Okay.
And he had rolled over almost $1 million of their money into an IRA. And, I'd say, okay, well, yeah, there's probably better investments or a reason for doing it. But what he had done is there was about $500,000 of that $1 million that could have been rolled over in a tax advantaged way. And what I mean by that, some of these plans you can carve out company stock, and that was a plan where they could have carved out the company stock and saved the client is probably closer to $50,000-$60,000 in taxes. So they basically threw it away because no one knew.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things I want to stress. Rollovers, you hear it all the time. People hear it from advisors. But the problem is not all advisors take the taxes into account. And this is where I'm going to stress. That's where you really want to work with someone that's a little bit more retirement planning focused.
Okay.
And part of the conversation that should always come up, especially when you're first digging into a plan, one, make sure they're showing you the numbers. Are you going to be okay? Do the numbers make sense? Right. And then you want them pointing out a few things in the plan. Are there ways that they can save money in taxes? Are there issues there that they should look out for now or in the future? In the future is always important because the thing is if you see something in the future in a plan, meaning down the road they're going to have a tax issue, then it gives you a bunch of time to help them fix it. And in the world of taxes, fixing these things sometimes takes time. You got to do a little bit every year, but it all adds up.
Okay.
So the big thing is when you first meet with someone, if they're starting to look at the tax planning side of it, the legacy planning side of it, and are you going to be okay? and you can tell they're actually doing planning and actually doing the work with numbers. I can't tell you how many times someone has come in and they said, yeah, my advisor told me to do a Roth conversion, but they never proved it out.
Got it.
You want someone proving these things out to you before you do it. And that's what I want to see.
The why before. Yeah.
Yeah. Make someone comfortable. People get comfortable when they see the why, and then they understand what they're doing. And I can't tell you, Heather, the whole thing is if I for me to feel comfortable doing something, like if I called someone and I needed help doing something I don't know how to do, if they show me the why, then I'm like, oh yeah, we just got to do it because it fixes this.
The why. And also the how before things start happening. It's like, this is why and this is how. We haven't pressed the go button yet. Yeah.
And that's why I said it always starts with that Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup. And we do that complimentary, by the way. Our number, 860-854-3434.
The idea about taxes and consequences that are created accidentally. You were trying to do the right thing, but what you thought was the right thing didn't get done the quote unquote correct way. Working to help you avoid these kinds of mistakes, working to show you the why and the how so that you have understanding. Of course, that's what you want when it comes to your nest egg. It's your hard-earned savings. Let's get to work helping you understand why and how it's going to work for you in the years ahead. Tax efficiently as possible. That is, of course, the goal. Again, the number to dial, 860-854-3434. The idea of a rollover or a conversion, these are big buzzwords right now, but if you're wondering if it could actually work for you, let's crunch the numbers on your savings and investments so that you understand how it might work for you. 860-854-3434. Of course, you can also find us online at tfcheckup.com. All right, Ken, final thoughts for today.
You know, it's always about the plan with me. So I'm going to say, know your numbers, start with a plan, and then worry about the investing.
Investment advice offered through Tumolo Wealth Management, a Connecticut-registered investment advisor. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here.